Hey ladies and gentlemen, hope you're having a good early or late afternoon, early evening. So today I just want to shoot a video all around mental health. Whilst having a nice stroll through High Beach, which is like Epping Forest area. Before I get into that, as always, if you are following on here and you think people will get some good information from it, please like, comment and share it to as many people as possible. On Instagram, do the same, and if you're on YouTube, hit subscribe so you don't miss anything. But yes, obviously being plunged or being put into a national lockdown, which we can get into, or restrictions, if you want to get into common law, and there's certain things coming out around that which will be exposed very soon. These are all unlawful. There's other things that me and Tom talked about as well, actually. Tom Barnett, I'm going to do another video on that, around things that you can do just to let other people know that you're aware of how this situation isn't all as it seems to be. Anyway, but a couple of tips for people, because I know that one of the things that's happened is some cars coming behind. Not only, the stats show now that deaths from suicide are outweigh in lots of areas those from COVID. Terrible soundtrack, whoever that is, and also unemployment is going to be through the roof. Depression, anxiety around this situation. Lots of mental health issues have come to the surface, and we talked about before. COVID or this lockdown hasn't created them; it's just revealed them. It's revealed where people are struggling. And it's generally what happens in life, and then you get a situation that just reveals where you've been stuck. Anyway, some of the things that we need to address when we're looking at mental health is, the medical industry likes to they like to basically section off every area of the body. Compartmentalise, is that the word I'm looking for? So you go and see get gastrointestinist about your gastro problems or your stomach problems. You go and see wherever it may be, an endocrine specialist about hormones, whereas the body actually works as one. And it's the same with mental health. You can't just section off your mental health. It's why the studies have shown, I put loads of posts up about this before, antidepressants, they work no better than a placebo. They're in fact long term do lots of damage. People are being put on schizophrenic drugs that do long lasting damage, and so the key is your mental health is connected to your overall health. It's why Aristotle, I've mentioned before, he got his students to actually go and train with the wrestling team, with the Olympic athletes as well, because he knew how much exercise and physical impacted the mental and emotional. And this is why when you're looking at mental health, you have to look at the body as a whole, same as with any health issue. We have a terrible light coming through there. So exercise is one of the things, if you haven't been doing this, you can go out and exercise and spend time amongst nature. You can get amongst nature, it's fantastic. But exercising, one of the reasons I do it most days is because it clears my mind. It allows you just to almost shake off any energy that may be in your body. The energy, your body has to flow. It's why people can get things stuck in there, or can get blocked chakras where energy's not being able to just move freely through their body. And exercise allows us to do that. It also allows us to sweat, remove toxins, all things that can impact mental health as well. And especially when it comes to the mind and clearing it, things like running are always good, long walks, but running, things that get the heart moving, so any stagnant energy in the body gets moved. Circuits can be good, but they can be quite intense, but sometimes it's a nice rhythm, like a flow state, can be very, very powerful. And then, as I mentioned before, spending time amongst nature. Nature is a great healer. It's got everything we need. And just coming out, spending time amongst the energy, fresh air. Summertime, springtime, winter, fall, whatever you want to be in. Even now, it's gorgeous being out here just amongst the fresh air. And it can just really relax you. It calms you down, especially in this world where everything's done at such a fast pace. Everyone's meant to do anything yesterday. It's a very, very powerful thing. Just coming out amongst nature and just taking time to relax. Okay, so that's one. Talk about hot and cold therapy, cold showers, for example. Very, very good for the mind as well as the body. Great for stimulating hormonal function and cognitive function, and great for the immune system, but very, very good for the mind. heat therapy as well, things like saunas. But then we look at things like what food you're eating. Okay, so probiotic rich foods, things that can greatly impact the gut, beneficial for the gut, because you've got a vagus nerve that runs from gut to brain, and if your gut's inflamed, then that will greatly impact your brain as well. So making sure you're having foods that are not doing that. So if you can, avoiding things like gluten, wheat, soy, pasteurised, homogenised dairy, alcohol, refined and processed foods. If you can do that, that's going to bring you onto a winner as well. You know, keeping yourself hydrated, it's going to be great for your system as well. Okay, so not just always what you're adding in, but what you're removing. And then probiotic rich foods, I mentioned before, you've got beverages, coconut kefir is great, milk or goat kefir if you can find it is fantastic. All these things will be great for your gut. Real whole food, you know, foods, if you can, organic, you know, free of pesticides, herbicides, larvicides, rodenticides, chemical fertilizers. If not, just go for real foods as much as you can. Okay, and even giving your body a break from foods a lot of the time. Now, sometimes people are constantly eating, leads to being bloated, getting digestive distress. You know, people eat far too much food far too often, and their gut's constantly working overtime, and that can lead to mental and emotional problems as well, and just feeling down. You know, you're that lazy overeater, but it can also be quite stressful if you keep eating too much. So giving your body time away from that, and spending some time with yourself. You know, some introspection. You know, taking some time to be with yourself, journal things down. Okay, writing things down, getting things out of your head, things that are constantly going round and round your mind, getting them on paper. It's been shown to just relieve stress for so many people because your brain's only got so much storage up there. So, there's a great book out there called Brain Rules by John Dina. It talks about this, putting things on paper. And then there's other things. Oh, I'm just getting a bit tired. I'm going to switch over. So, other things that we can do around that as well. Clearing the mind, you know. If you feel like you're getting low in a bad mood, you can put on some good music. Music's a very, very quick way to change your energy, your physiology, your psychology. On our calls every week with my guys, always start the call with a song and everyone straight away goes, oh my God, I feel so much better. I feel much more excited or alive. Music can do that, you know. Similarly, don't put on music that's going to bring you down. Same with films, you know. Put on a film or a program that brings you up, makes you smile. Fantastic, rather than ones that are going to bring you down. And that's another thing with the news. Don't expose yourself or give your constant exposure to mainstream news, which is constant doom and gloom, fear mongering, corrupt to the core. You know, if you switch that off, you wouldn't even know what's going on, apart from everyone walking around with masks on, which is, as I said before, is obedience and compliance. But these things are all things that you can do. Okay, so making sure that you're eating good, real, whole foods, organic where possible, keeping yourself hydrated, you know, listening to uplifting music or films or listening to podcasts, you know, avoiding things that are going to bring you down. Similar with negative people as well. If you're around people that are negative all the time, doom and gloom, maybe, even if they're loved ones, maybe just like, you know, have an allocated time with them, but no more. Be aware of these things as well. Who you're around, who brings you down, who brings you up, who's inspiring, who's uplifting, and who's not, you know. Misery loves company. You know, mentioned before, the most infectious thing in the world is a negative thought, not a positive action. It just spreads like wildfire, like lies do. You know, the truth stands firm, but it's amazing how quick lies and deceit can spread. And so, yeah, food, exercise being one, hot and cold therapy, journaling, reading good books, being around positive people, and then even taking up a hobby. You know, doing something that gives you a purpose in life. If you can't work, or if you at the moment you can't work, put yourself into something you've always wanted to do. Maybe that be, you know, learning a language or learning an instrument, or starting that side business. You know, having a purpose is massive. Paul Chek, you know, the Chek Institute, they talk about the 4 doctors. You know, talk about Dr. Happy, things that make you happy. Dr. Diet, all your food. Dr. Movement, getting your movement in, what movement it may be, whether it's exercise or Qigong, Tai Chi. Then we also talk about Dr. Quiet, introspection. But purpose, doing something each day that makes you happy and gives you a purpose, makes you get out of bed. So if you can't work, put yourself into that. Okay, I don't know if I've missed out anything else. I've had a little sheet here. But lots of stuff. But yeah, and also drugs, medication, you know, if you're on these things are very, very toxic for the body. They're not actually going to increase your health. They're just there to give you a repeat prescription. So these things, if you get yourself healthy, you're not going to need these anymore. But limiting alcohol as well might be good for a little bit of a blowout with friends. You know, sometimes it's food for the soul. But constantly having these things, it's like poor food quality. Things that you might make you feel better in the short term. In the long term, you keep on eating them are going to actually bring you down, bring your energy down. So basically, look at things rather than good and bad or foods. Think about things actually as it's really gorgeous actually. Have a look here. Beautiful. Start to think of things as positive and negative energy, the things that you're putting into your system. So when you start putting goodness in all the time, or things that are high energy, you're going to have a high energy outcome. Makes a massive difference on the body and the mental and emotional state. Okay, so that's another thing. So alcohol, you keep on having that all the time, it's going to bring you down, lower your vibration. And it's the same as one other thing as well, is putting things off. So often people, when they're in those states, they put things off that they want to do. And if you keep putting things off, that can lead to you thinking and becoming more annoyed at yourself, resentful of yourself. You know, so doing the first things first, making the list and ticking it off. And go through and even make a list of things that you've got to do for that day and just tick them off. If you, Matthew McConaughey actually had a really good episode the other day with Joe Rogan, and Success Leaves Clues, and lots of people do this. There's a great book out there as well called The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. It talks about the things that successful people do before 9 o'clock and making the list of things. And even if it's, doesn't matter what it is, it's working out. But in the morning, for example, I have a list of things that I go through. I journal, I do breath work, I do some left-handed writing for my brain. I'll have my morning tonic, have a cold shower, etc., work out, and I tick those things off. Boom, done 6 things already. Great, let's get into the day. Making a list of things and ticking them off. It's great for your mental and emotional health. So looking at all these things, you know, looking at your mental and emotional health as your overall health. Because generally people suffer with mental and emotional health, it's just where the weakness is in the chain. So someone else, you know, we talk about your predisposition to disease plus modern lifestyle equaling chronic illness. Most people think that's just physical illness, but it can also be mental and emotional as well. So if you've got that in your family and you've got predisposition to it, you can easily be exposed. So where someone else may get a gut issue or a skin issue, you may be prone to mental and emotional stress. So taking care of this in terms of everything you're doing, from your food, your movement, who you're around, the energy, what you're putting on, just be really aware of all those things. Because once you start doing them, once you start putting these things into practice, eating good foods, probiotic rich foods, hydrating, hot and cold therapy, breath work, getting out amongst nature, speaking to people that uplift you, listening to things that uplift you, it's a game changer. And that really will give you everything you need to keep yourself mentally and emotionally healthy. Okay? Gone through a few things a couple of times here, so I don't want to string it out too long, but hopefully if I've missed anything, let me know. I think I've covered quite a lot, and yeah, go out there and do these things, because it's going to put you onto a greater mental state and greater stability. Anyway, I hope that's helped people. We'll be going through a few other things. Got the horses here. Cool. So anyway, people, have a good rest of your Saturday. Nice, have a good rest of your Saturday, and go and put these things into practice. And I guarantee you, whatever you're going through, it's mental and emotional issues or physical issues. Cool, that's a hell of a pony. Whether it be physical issues or mental and emotional issues, you're going to be in a far better state. Okay, remember, no one's ever been born deficient in medication. You don't need medication for this. You need, and this is the other thing about it as well, guys, you know, life is not always up, it's not always stable. You've got, with summer comes winter, with day comes darkness, you know, night, with left comes right, you know, with heat comes cold. So you're not always going to be on up or stable. Sometimes you're going to feel down. That's nature. It's fine. Feel into that, you know, and then you can move forward. It's the problem is people stay there because people start taking drugs or things because they think, oh no, I'm not meant to feel this way. Of course you are. It's part of life. You can't always feel happy all the time. It's just, you know, you'd never know what happiness was if there wasn't any sadness. You know, you'd never know what joy is if there wasn't any sorrow. So it's important to know this. But doing those things is going to put you in a massive, put you hugely into a state of where you're going to be able to actually move forward, understand yourself better, and just be with yourself as well. You haven't always got to be constantly entertained. Spend some time with yourself, get to know yourself a little bit better, and love yourself. Okay, because that's a huge one. People always come from a point of, you know, hating themselves, hating the way they look, etc. Start loving yourself, treating yourself like someone you love. If you knew that you're going to suffer with mental, or if you suffer with mental and emotional issues, how would you treat your mum or your sister or your brother or your son or your husband if they were going through it? Would you give them love, or would you chastise and berate them? You know, you do the things that are necessary to get them where they need to be. Okay, so take it on board, and if you can as well, get out amongst nature. The more you surround yourself with nature, the less these things, you know, start to impact you, because you just realise, you know, a lot of it's noise. And if you haven't already, look into some of the guys, Byron Katie and Peter Crone. They're great for this as well. You know, when you get stressed about things you can't change, you know, you said before, there are no stressful circumstances. There are circumstances, now there are reactions to them. You get two people, same circumstance, they react to it completely differently. And that just shows, you know, it's not the circumstance, it's your reactions or our reactions to them. We can't change the outside world, but we can change what goes on in here and what we do. When you start doing those things, okay, and start doing all the things that create health, I'm not saying you can't do the things that, you know, the other side of it, have a bit of alcohol, have a bit of food every now and again that's not, you know, healthy, quote unquote. It's food for the soul. But if you do the things that promote health majority of the time, you're going to get, you're going to have a healthy body, healthy mind the majority of the time, and that's a game changer. Anyway guys, hope that's helped. Lots of love to you all. If you've got any questions, you want answers, give me a shout. If you are dealing with a health issue and you want help overcoming it, you know, that's what we specialise in, so just send me an inbox on here or an email at ryan@reviveyourself.co. I'll get to it as soon as I can. I'm off to enjoy more of this walk. Stay happy, stay healthy, lots of love. I'll speak to you soon. Bye bye.